So I have a new hyperfixation on TikTok. I recently came across this creator. He's called Budgeting with Bradley. And basically he is an extreme cheapskate. He makes videos around living just a very frugal lifestyle. Now, personally, I do find this content entertaining, but I will say just on a human standpoint, I do think it is really important to be consuming content like this because for so long now, social media really has kind of been a marketing tool. It's made to make you want things. It's made to make you buy things. So for today's video, I thought it would be fun if we chatted a little bit about loving our home decor and decorating our home while still being financially responsible and keeping that mindful, frugal mindset. So because I actually already talk about this so much here on my channel, I thought for today's video, it would be really fun to do kind of more of a reverse decorating challenge where I take an image and show you how you could get this look in your home by using the secondhand, DIY, or high quality techniques. Jumping into our first image here, we're just working with this kind of a light and neutral living room. I will say, when somebody sees an image like this that they're trying to achieve in their home, the first thing they're going to go ahead and do is probably shop for this sofa. Now, a trained eye knows that this image is showing a genuine leather sofa, and for a lot of people who are trying to decorate their home or get this look in their home, the very first thing they're probably going to do is try and find the cheapest version of the sofa that they can online. One of the best priced sofas that I know of that is a genuine leather sofa in this look is actually going to be through a company called Article. They've got this genuine leather sofa. It's called the cigar sofa. This is almost identical to the image. I don't know that you could find a genuine leather sofa that's giving this similar look for a price point that is under around $4,000. Now, because we are trying to be frugal and mindful, I'm just going to go on Facebook Marketplace and see what secondhand options I could find instead of this Article sofa. The first one I found here is actually a West Elm sofa. It's $1,900, but again, it is made of genuine leather. And I do find, though the style is a little bit different, it is still going to give us a very similar look. And speaking of West Elm sofas, here is another one. This one is actually $580. Again, it's genuine leather, and this seller actually put in the condition that it has been regularly maintained. Now, when it comes to the area rug, again, this looks like a brand new area rug. This does not look to be any kind of like a vintage style or anything like that. If I was to just do a quick Google search, like let's just go blue area rug, striped. So honestly, this one looks identical to the one in the photo. This one is a hand-loomed wool rug. It's actually from Wayfair. If you know me, I do kind of have a love-hate relationship when it comes to Wayfair. If an item does say that it is genuine wool or that it's hand-loomed, it truthfully might be a pretty good quality product. Looking at some of the photos, it honestly does look like it would probably be pretty good. Generally, the size that I use for most of the living rooms is going to be slightly larger than an 8x10. I see they have one here that's kind of like a 9x12, and the price point is actually pretty good. This one is $789. I know for lots of people, this is actually pretty expensive for a rug. Often, I think someone would look at a photo like this and go on Wayfair and try to find a similar sized rug, probably somewhere within that $100 to $200 range. And again, at this price point, I just don't think you're going to find a great quality rug that is going to hold up. So I'm going to use this one here as kind of my high price point or wish list option. And then we can go back to our trusty Facebook Marketplace and we can see if there's anything on here that would have a similar look. Okay, finding a pre-loved rug on Facebook Marketplace is proving to be kind of useless. And I will say, generally when this happens to me in real life, This is just an area where I know maybe the area rug I'm not going to buy at this time. I've got kind of my North Star. If I want to go out and I want to spend $700 on the rug, I can. Or I can leave my room without a rug for right now, and I can just wait it out and see what pops up on Facebook Marketplace in the future. Holy crap, I actually did find this table online and it sells for $3,300. So that's not going to be what we're looking for. I just think that you could find something of a similar kind of look, probably secondhand. So again, I'm just going to go and have a look on Facebook Marketplace and see what I come up with. And wouldn't you know it, we found something that almost looks identical to the original. Obviously, it's a slightly different shape, but it still has kind of that angular look in a solid wood finish. This one's $75. So again, I'm going to add this one to my list for now. I think this is going to give us a very similar look, but at a much more affordable price tag. Okay, and next up we can do the coffee table. I do really like the dark look of this coffee table. I'm just gonna go online and just see what I could find. Probably something like a West Elm would carry something very similar to this. Okay, so it's not identical, but honestly, this one here from West Elm, it's the Owen coffee table, 60 inches. This one goes for $900. Now let's have a look at what we could find secondhand instead. I'm just gonna go for a dark wood coffee table. Okay, here's just a really beautiful mid-century modern coffee table. It's listed for $50. Similar length, it's 56 long. It looks like a really nice piece. I like that it has some detailing on it as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this one to our mood board. So far, everything has been pretty simple to find secondhand, but one thing I also keep in mind is DIY projects. And I will say in this particular image, there's kind of that long sideboard that goes along the length of the living room. This would be a very expensive piece, and especially if you are trying to go for a genuine wood piece of furniture, I just know that this would be super expensive. This would probably be more expensive than the couch, to be totally honest with you. But I do like the idea of actually using the IKEA Ivar system. I've seen lots of people use this because it is a solid wood, kind of just a very simple box look. And then from there, it is unfinished, so you can actually stain it or paint it. So this is actually what I think I'm going to use as my DIY option in the space. Okay, and the second space we're going to kind of reverse decorate is this dining room here. And the first item I'm going to point out is actually the dining table. This reminds me so much of those transform tables. It kind of starts out as a small table and then you can pull it out into a bigger oval. Okay, so their website does claim that these tables are actually made of solid wood. I don't know how high quality that wood is, but I do find the look of these to be quite trendy. It's not necessarily what I would dub as timeless. So because of that, I don't necessarily feel like it's a great option if you are trying to be mindful of your money and kind of frugal when it comes to your home decor. Let's look at some options that I prefer that I think would actually last a little bit longer in your home instead. Honestly, some of you might hate the look of this table, but I actually kind of like it. So this is obviously a table that extends out. I just really like the look of the feet on this table. I think in this context, when you're seeing it on Facebook Marketplace, it does look really dated, but I do feel like this type of table, when it's styled correctly, this would feel very timeless. It kind of has that mid-century modern look to it. I also really love the look of the wood grain. I feel like each piece is just intentionally placed so that the grain is actually making somewhat of a pattern on the table. I'm going to go ahead and add this one to our mood board. I really like the look. I think it would be really funky, and I can tell that it is made of solid wood. So I actually found these exact dining chairs that they are from Design Within Reach, and they go for a whopping $845 per dining chair. I know for a backed, you could DIY something that looks just like this, and it also would be of an equivalent material and quality. So for $300, this table actually also includes 6 solid wood dining chairs to match, and this would be such an easy DIY. If you just popped off the seats on these chairs, you could paint the entire chair red, and then you could just recover the cushions. They're a nice, just kind of square shape, so they would be super easy if you did want to recover them. And with that being said, I have always found great options for ladder back chairs on Facebook Marketplace as well. Okay, for example, I just found 6 dining chairs. They aren't that exact kind of ladder back look, but they do have that woven detail. They do look to be solid wood, like they actually look like they're a pretty decent quality. But again, this would be a DIY. For $600, you could purchase these chairs, and then you could just paint the wooden parts and leave kind of that cord. And next up is the area rug. You already know my experience with looking at area rugs today on Facebook Marketplace, but I did just want to point out it's kind of that flat woven style area rug, and I do actually find IKEA does offer some pretty affordable price points for this style of rug, and I actually don't hate the quality. So for example, this one here, it's an 8x10 area rug. It's $400. In my opinion, this is not crazy for an area rug. I do find that this is a pretty affordable price point, especially for this size. And we can compare it to something just super similar off of West Elm. This is a tweed flat weave area rug. I've selected the same size, kind of that 8x10 sizing there, and it's around $900. So overall, this is going to give you a very similar look in your home to the IKEA rug, and the IKEA rug is going to be half the price. And actually, I do find that the materials that use kind of that sisal jute material on the IKEA one is actually going to be slightly more durable, especially when it comes to a dining area. Okay, and then finding a similar buffet to the one that is in this image, I found something just off of Pottery Barn. It's kind of in that dark charcoal finish. It goes for $2,700 on sale. And then obviously this would be such an easy item to find a dupe for off of Facebook Marketplace. There's one on here that has actually been refinished. It's selling for $825. I actually don't hate the look of it. Sometimes people who refinish furniture, I don't always love, but this one actually looks pretty nice. And I don't mind the wood top. I think this would tie in nicely with the table that we selected as well. Okay, and here's another option. This one goes for $250. It is a solid wood piece. I do like it the way it currently looks, but I actually find that this also would be an item you could DIY. So if you did want to bring it in kind of that darker, almost like chalky finish of the one in the image, you could chalk paint this piece in kind of like a dark navy to go with the rug. So as I kind of mentioned in that exercise, something that I love to keep in mind when it comes to decorating your home and it being on a budget is the idea of slow design. This really is the concept that it's better to keep your home feeling kind of empty and leaving some holes in your home decor that you can slowly fill. Even if you have kind of a budget you're working with, sometimes it can be just putting that budget into one particular high-end, good quality piece, and then just waiting a little bit and saving up again for the next item that you're going to be adding to your home. This is really going to allow your space to feel a lot more thoughtful, and often it's also going to mean that you're going to be thinking each item through very thoroughly instead of just trying to rush it all at one time. And it's not a bad thing to get used to the idea of minimalism in your home. I think for most of us, we do tend to be over consumers, and generally we have way too much stuff than we have space for anyway. Truthfully, I think a lot of people actually prefer the look of an empty room to a room that feels kind of chaotic and cluttered. So leaning into more of this minimalist style in your home can actually just alleviate a little bit of stress and visual clutter. And when you're working with a home that feels kind of empty and just very simple, when you actually get used to perfecting this look in your home, it helps you resist the urge to fill every inch of your space space. To be honest, I am somewhat more of a maximalist when it comes to my decor, but I do just absolutely love a great minimalist space. I just find these are so simple, they're so clean, and truthfully, they're just very mindful. So if you are somebody who wants to decorate your home in the future, you want your space to feel very curated and collected, but you just don't have the means or the budget to do that right now, you really can just rock a minimalist space for this phase of your life, knowing that when you actually get to a point where you can splurge a little bit more on home decor, you haven't kind of overcommitted to cheap and inexpensive items in these areas. You've left some holes and some spaces in your home that you can fill with some of these more curated and thoughtful items in the future. So if you're just trying to be frugal or decorate your home on a budget, I hope this video gave you some reassurance that it truly is a privilege to decorate a home at any budget. And in my opinion, when you take it slow, when you take it thoughtfully and you curate your space, this really is going to make a home that you feel a personal connection to and you feel your best in. And it's not going to be some cheap, trendy home that you're constantly cycling new furniture through every time the styles change. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I'd love to hear in the comments what your favorite frugal hacks are when it comes to your home decor. If you just simply enjoyed hanging out here with me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.